Hey everybody, hope you're doing well. Tonight we're going to show you how to take your 3D printed tread piece for your Wally, glue in your tread rubber pieces, put our heat inserts in, and then make it so that way you've attached them directly to your Rexnord conveyor track. Let's get right into it. Some tools that you are going to need are, of course, your 3D printed tread plates. You're going to need at least 64. I suggest printing some extras in order to have, in case anything breaks or gets damaged, you have some extras. You'll need your rubber tread pieces, which I've printed, again, more extra to have in case things break or get damaged. You'll need number 8 3D print, number 8 heat inserts, some number 8 by 3/8 inch flathead screws, the drilling jig that I've designed, some pliers, countersink bit, super glue, other miscellaneous tools. Pair of pliers is also pretty handy. You'll see why in a few minutes. So let's just get right into it. We'll hang out, we'll do this, and see how it goes. First, you'll take your deburring tool, which I prefer to use for this operation because otherwise you'll be fighting with an X-Acto knife or something like that. Take your deburring tool. We're going to be getting into these pockets here. Each one of them may have a little bit of over extrusion on the top layer, so being able to go in with a deburring tool and deburr them is very handy. So you just want to go in, kind of run around the outside of each one, get them deburred sufficiently, because what ends up happening is if you try to put it in and that top layer is overhanging, you'll end up with some issues and potentially have a harder time pressing in the tread pieces. These TPU inserts were printed out of TPU, 30% infill, 5 walls, gyroid infill. So what I like to do is basically I kind of line them up in the order that they're going to go. The process for this is you'll take a little bit of your thin super glue and put it into one pocket, take your tread piece, put it in, and then you'll end up squeezing it with a pair of pliers to try to get it to sit flat. You'll know when it sits flat because you'll hear the super glue kind of squeeze out. A little bit of a tangent here. I did some testing with super glue, E6000, no glue, and when trying to tear out the tread pieces from these with like a pair of pliers in like this direction, where it would be, you know, the most shear strength or the most, you know, the most stressful for the glue, the super glue actually pulled out, the 3D print layers fell apart instead of the glue coming out. So I was satisfied with that. The E6000 was strong, but it did eventually, I was able to get all of the tread piece out. And so to me, that means that it wasn't a very good bond, even though it still was holding well. Anyways, I'm going with super glue. You can use whatever glue you prefer. E6000 would certainly be more forgiving because it's got a 24-hour working time, and this stuff does not. So after you've deburred this, we're going to go ahead, we'll just start left to right. Make sure your super glue is clear. You can just listen. Okay. I put a little bit in. You don't want to go too heavy. What I'll do is I'll take like this edge here, the thinner edge, kind of slide it around if I've got too much, go from there. Put the fat end in first, push it all the way over. In this case, this one went in really well, and so you can, you just push it down with your finger. So we'll just move on to the next one. That was pretty easy. Put a little bit of super glue in. Hopefully you guys can see this. I'll zoom in on the next one. Push this one here. This one does not go in as well, so we'll take the pliers. We'll just kind of work it. Work it in. There you go, it's all the way fully seated. You'll know when it's seated, you can hear it. It won't squeeze as well. You're gonna get super glue on your fingers. I suggest having some sort of rag or something in place, so that way you have a way to like wipe them down, whatever. You're gonna end up painting these, or at least I will later, so it doesn't really matter if it's got super glue, because I'll be painting them. So yeah, you can see this one's kind of giving me a little bit of trouble. You kind of just twist, squeeze. When you know it's bottomed out, you can hear it, as well as the super glue will start to bubble out. That's how you know. I'm going to zoom in on this one. Let's see how that goes. Maybe we can get you guys in a little closer on this last one. We're doing this on the fly, so bear with me here. Put in a little super glue. You can see it's shiny at the bottom there. That's what you're looking for, fully covered. You want to put the fat end in first. You can see when I say fat end, it's like this right here is the fat end. The flat end, whatever you want to call it. Push it in. Again, it kind of doesn't want to seat, so you just grab your pliers. Just push it down. There you go. One thing you could do is take a straight edge afterwards, hold it up alongside of it, verify that there's no high spots. Looks like there might be, so we'll just go back through, kind of push them down. Again, it's not really going to matter. There's 32 treads on one side each, so just push them down, and that's it. We'll zoom you back out here. Okay, that's one. That's one. That was pretty quick. So it's good that it's fast because, again, we've got 64 more of these to do. So the next step would be to put in the inserts. The support has not been removed. You may or may not print these tread pieces with support. I did, and I kind of regret it. So you'll use your support removing tool. In my case, this is just a flat blade screwdriver. Pull these guys out. There you go. We'll plug in the soldering iron, our heat press insert tool. Get our number 8 inserts while that's warming up. Another cool thing about this design is the fact that it's removable. If any of these treads ever get damaged, or if they get, you know, the treads themselves get damaged, the tread plates, or the tread, the rubber tread portions get damaged, you can easily replace these tread pieces. The interesting thing about these is that if you did have to replace them, you could easily just print some more. I have a fairly slow printer. It's not like the new bamboo printers where you can get prints off of it very fast. I have an Ultimaker 2. It takes me 8 hours to print 3 of these. I've got it upgraded with a heated build chamber, as well as some other sort of custom upgrades to keep it held together, and that allows me to have the ability to print ABS, which is everything that Wally is. So I've printed everything out of 100% ABS. There are no there's no PLA or PETG parts. It's all ABS. So we will do another set of these here, put another 3 in, then we'll go ahead and I'll explain my jig as well as the other part here. While this is warming up, one thing that's great about the 3D printed jig that I have for this is you don't have to disassemble the track in order to place it, in order to mark and drill your tread plates. So you can do this while it's fully assembled on the track drive. You don't have to take it off, or even if it's just on the bench, if you take the two halves off, you can mark it. I'll show you that right now since we are waiting for it to warm up. I may redesign it, but there's two. Unfortunately, it's not directional. You can do it the wrong way. You really want to make sure that the holes are in the center of the tread plate. The best way to do that is to just mark it with your marker. In my case, I'm using a fine point Sharpie because it can get through the thing. You can see, hopefully you can see, these are offset this direction. So this was the wrong orientation. So you want to flip it around and make sure that you're actually marking the middle of the tread plate, because if you drill it wrong, you will be sad because all your treads will be off by 1/8 of an inch. So I'm going to probably redesign the drilling jig before I do that, so that way there's no errors, because I would hate for somebody to ruin all their treads and have to buy it again. So now that this is warm, we'll go ahead and again press in these inserts, make sure they're going the right direction. Just go ahead, press them in. Again, you want to make sure these go below the surface. There might be a little bit of squeeze out, which is fine. You can clean that up with a razor blade or your soldering tip. It's not a problem. Push these down. Clean up the edge. That's what I'm doing right now. And then you'll have all 3 of these down. I chose 3. Could probably get away with 2. I wanted some support in the middle, and then it felt like I needed it on both ends as well, so I went with 3. Alright, that's done. We'll go ahead, turn off the soldering iron, set that to the side, so that way we can get burned with that later. Alright, so we've got that done. We've got our treads. We've got our track marked. So we'll go ahead, take our drill, a clearance drill for a number 8 screw. I'll let you look that up. I don't remember it off the top of my head. Do your best to get it right on the... You can use a drill press to do all these if you're going to do them in a batch. I'm just doing them one right now for the sake of this sort of instruction. Go ahead and drill it. These are just made of delrin, so it should drill very nicely, so you don't have to worry about chips, anything like that. Make sure your drill bit's tight so you don't get any spin. Last one here. Okay, that's that. We'll flip it over. This is where we get the countersink bit. Put that in your drill. Helps to have your flathead screws so that way you can get the test, get the fit right. Just going to be doing a quick little countersink. This is actually probably better on a drill press instead of with a hand drill because I'm getting kind of some oblong holes. So again, if you're doing all 64 of these instead of just doing 1 or 2, you might want to set yourself up on a drill press. It's just going to be a lot easier for you. Get your Allen key. I chose to go with the hex head, just because I wanted to be able to get a nice, good, nice, decent grip on it. Check to make sure your countersink is deep enough. Mine are just about right. This is just a demo, so I'm not going to really worry about doing them 100% right now, because why not just forget about it and then never go back and fix it. Get all of them started before you tighten them down. Get these guys screwed on. Start from the middle, work your way out. Nice and tight. Nice and tight. You probably don't want to use Loctite on these, only because there's potential that you may have to come and take them off. Also, you're not really going to want to be testing them all one at a time, because what'll end up happening then is you'll end up having a problem with your... If there's a problem and you have to remove them, what'll end up happening then is you'll be fighting the Loctite, and your 3D printed inserts may tear out. So you can see I did that right the first time here with my jig. I'll go ahead and do one more just since we have one ready to go. Go back to our clearance hole. Just go ahead and drill this. Camera keeps turning off. I was saying that using the drill press would probably be better. And back to our countersink bit. kind of eyeball it. I'm not really sure why it's jumping around so much. It's actually a really nice countersink bit, but we'll deal with that later. Clean off your work area, because there's no reason to work when it's dirty. Okay, you've got one more. Let's put this on. We'll need 3 more screws. There's that. Last one. We'll tighten these down, and then we'll take a look at it. Again, this is just a piece of scrap track. I have my other tracks fully assembled, not with the treads, but around the track drive. Anyways, you can see now we've got the treads, and they are in place. I think some of the benefits of doing it this way are, again, it's cheaper. It was a roll, 2 rolls of TPU, or 1 roll of TPU that actually another member printed for me, because my printer does not print TPU very well. So thank you. You know who you are. And ABS, I use 3 rolls of ABS. I'm printing these with 4 walls, 15% gyroid infill. So I think the total cost, if you don't, well, I'm using Polymaker filament. I really like their stuff. Works really well on my printer. They're $25 a spool for ABS on Amazon, so $75 for that. And then the TPU would cost you, I think, like $30 if you were to buy the roll of it, plus hardware. Inserts, you'll need 200, well, 198, but they come in packs of 100. And so I think all in, for not including the Rexnord tracks, you're going to be into this for like $150 maybe by the time you're all said and done, not including like paint and weathering. And so I priced out casting these out of urethane between building the silicone mold, the casting resin, the urethane, the mold release, the coloring agents. I think I was like at like $400 or $500 all said and done by the time I was going to be getting my treads out. So yeah, this is certainly much more economical. I think the fact that you're only making contact with these, pieces on the tread makes that also sort of a viable option as well. Some cons I could think of is, having to paint and weather each one of these, whether or not you care about the potential for 3D print lines. I'm just going to probably hit these with some filler primer, some texture paint, then some matte black all the way across, and probably call it done, because and then weather it with like dirt and grime. But like as far as like any sort of base coating or anything like that, call it done, because the reality is once you drive it around, all the paint will sort of just naturally collect its own sort of dirt. And I think people will be looking at your animation on your Wally instead of just like looking at these particular 3D print lines. I could be wrong. We'll see. I've not painted or primed any of these, so we will see how that goes. But if you have any questions, I'm on the forum, Wally Builder Group forum, the Wally Builders Club, and the Facebook group with the same name, Wally Builders Club. So if you are not a member, which I would be sort of surprised if you are not, I would say go ahead and join. Start building. Thanks for hanging out. This was a lot of fun, and I will see you on the next one.